Hi, I'm Amy Harwood, and today I'm working with Masterpiece to show you how to create this Christmassy wreath. So first you want to start off with our first layer, which will be a watery wash. So all you want to do is add lots and lots of water to a little bit of paint. And what this does is it makes a nice background for us to paint over the top of in a moment. And at the moment you just want to colour block in all the elements. So you want a nice thick wreath that goes all the way around the outside of the outline. And you want to do a little bit of yellow and orange for the oranges, and brown and red for the pine cones, robins and ribbon. It doesn't have to be perfect, this is just to block in the colour so that there's no white spaces underneath. Once your layer has dried, it's time to add some sprigs. So these leaves are nice and wintry and really simple to paint. So all you have to do is paint one line and then lots of little lines that come out from the centre. And we're going to do the first layer with a nice light green. So mix a little bit of white with your green and start painting. We want these to kind of go in different directions and coming over the top of the outlines that you've created for the wreath. So this is just so it looks nice and natural and that it looks like it's coming off the page. It doesn't matter if you leave a lot of space because you've got your wash underneath to act as the background, and we'll be painting more leaves on top later anyway. And now it's time to do exactly the same thing, but with a darker green. So feel free to add a touch of black to your green and start painting over the top with different sprigs pointing in different directions. And these can overlap your light green leaves to create a nice textured look and fill in any more of the space that you've got left. And eventually you should have a nice bushy wreath with lots of different layers of green. And now it's time to add the darker details on the other elements. So feel free to mix a couple more darker colours or bolder colours that you've got. So maybe add a touch of red to your orange, or use the orange straight as it is and start painting the segments and the speckles in the rind for the oranges. And then move on to the darker browns for the robin and the pine cones. for the pine cones, we're going to use a very dark brown, so add a touch of black to your brown to paint all the shadows that are within the pine cone. And we're going to leave negative space for the lighter areas. So it should end up looking like a textured pine cone. Whoops! If you find yourself making little errors along the way, don't worry, we can paint over them later on in the process, so don't worry. You can paint in teeny tiny brush strokes at a time to build up the texture in the robin's feathers as well. So feel free to take your time and build up the shadows slowly. You can also start to mix colours as well if you like, so maybe add some lighter brown and mix it with the darker layer that you've already made to create some interesting blending. And repeat the same process for all the red areas as well. Remember before when I said that there's an interesting tip to cover any mistakes that you made? Well, now's the time to add the berries. All you have to do is just add little red dots everywhere. And you can use this to fill any empty spaces that you have and layer on top of the leaves to create a nice illustrative graphic style. And you can do big berries, little berries, whatever you like. Have fun with this one. Now it's time to add the shadows and the highlights. Let's start with the beak. So use a little amount of black, add a little bit of water if you want to make it a bit more fluid, and just add teeny tiny brush strokes or dots just to build the shape of the beak. And for the eye, you just want to draw an oval and a tiny little flick at the top. And then continue to add tiny little brush strokes wherever you want the darkest shadows to be. And remember, with black, less is more, so feel free to go a little light first, and then if you want to add more later, go round again. now we're going to do exactly the same process, but using pure white to add all the highlights. So you want to add lots to your oranges here so they look nice and juicy. And just add lots of little speckles of light wherever you think the light would hit all these objects. And this should bring your illustration to life a lot more and complete the look. And there you have your final festive masterpiece. Thank you very much for joining. Happy holidays. Bye!